Nancy, let's start with you. The former president, just moments ago, walking away from the lectern there, he did take questions from reporters.
Yes, and while he was walking away, took even more questions from reporters because as he was leaving, people were wondering why he hasn't endorsed Steve Garvey, the Republican running against Democrat Adam Schiff for Senate here in California. But the former president just walked away after a pretty remarkable 70 minutes or so. He spoke continuously for about 45 minutes on a range of topics. And remarkably, he really attacked California and in a way was trying to attract California voters, despite this being a very deep blue state. He started off, though, addressing a local issue here, which is the landslides in Rancho, Palos, Verdes. This is where his golf club is located. And because of the landslides here, residents, hundreds of them, 600 homes impacted by this problem. He talked with the mayor of Rancho Palos Verdes, John Cruikshank, who has been appealing for federal help in addressing this issue. But then the former president really went after VP Kamala Harris and her time here in California, calling Kamala Harris the godmother of sanctuary cities. He also went after California Governor Gavin Newsom, claiming both of them have destroyed law and order in California. Take a listen.
We cannot allow Comrade Kamala Harris and the communist left to do to America what they did to California. The state of California is a mess. When you look at the kind of destruction that's taken place, it's all man-made or woman-made destruction, too. It's things that should have never happened. We're not going to let that happen with 4 more years of her in the White House.
And then he really went after VP Harris and the Biden administration for border issues and the migrant problems. He said repeatedly that he wants to be known as the border president. He talked at length about Venezuelans coming into the U.S., many of them illegally and causing a lot of crime problems here in the U.S. But again, he really targeted California and talked about high taxes here, claiming that we have the highest rate of inflation here. And he talked about the California budget, which this year had a $68 billion deficit. Now, it made me recall the Newsom office issuing a press release a few months ago touting California's economy and bragging that this remains the world's 5th largest economy, that economic growth is really vibrant here. And since April, that we've been breaking tourism records here in California, and that there have been thousands of jobs, and that this state, according to Gavin Newsom, has the most companies in the Fortune 500 list. But the former president also brought up the gender identity bill that recently passed here in California. It allows school districts to not inform parents when their kids want to go by another gender at school. And this is what prompted Elon Musk, supposedly, to move his companies from California to Texas, in particular SpaceX. And he really praised Elon Musk and thanked him for his support. And the wildfires, he was asked about the wildfires here in California, a significant problem currently. And he talked about water mismanagement here in California, and perhaps that's an appeal to the farmers and ranchers in far northern California, which is a pretty red part of California.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.